Okay, I am doing this recording. It's a follow-up to when I said that I would do a video on the governor um, because he wasn't right for what he's allowing to happen to the women and the transgender women at Edna Mon trans women for Edna Mon Correctional Facility for women and transgender women and men prison in New Jersey. He has allowed the men to say, I'm transgender, I'm non-binary, and he's taken them from the men's prison and put them in with the women and the transgender women. There was a lawsuit, I forget the lady's name, where they were beating her up over at the men's prison, and they were harassing them and calling her names and doing all type of stuff. So she sued through the ACLU. They got her $125,000. They got her attorney $25,000 for their coffers, and they allowed her to stay at Edna Mon Correctional Facility for Women, which I'll probably go back to saying Mahan because I'm used to saying it that way. And then all of a sudden, that opened the floodgates in 2019, right after I left the prison, Edna Man, and that opened the floodgates so that others could come. I was in prison for 11 years for crimes that I didn't commit, which I'm still trying to clear my name from, and another charge that I got for in Hunterdon County, a BS charge. So I'm still trying to clear my name from those two things. Anyway, the irony of it all is that the men that are in the prison, not the transgender, the actual men that they are allowing to stay in the prison are there because of the transgender lawsuit. Now, she sued to get away from them, and they followed her through her lawsuit. It's not fair that she gets to stay and we don't get to stay. Now, these men are there. They're not transgender. They're not trying to pretend. They're not shaving. They have beards. They dress like men. They go around sounding like men. They aren't trying to be women in appearance. The officers, the male and female officers at the prison, have to strip search these men. So they have to see their genitals. They have to pat them down. If there's not a male officer available, that was one of the things that Sullivan, the I forget his title, but he elections officers, their representative. That was his concern in the lawsuit, is that some of the officers had religious beliefs and just an employment issue that they didn't want the female officers strip searching the male officers. Well, they already do, I think, in the male prisons, or they let the men do that in the male prisons. But this is a prison that's for women, so you wouldn't have a man in a prison that's for women. And hold on, I got right back. I've reached out to the governor's office. I've reached out to the lieutenant governor's office, and some inmates have written to me about this issue. And please don't tell me I bought the wrong file. Curses. Should have known. This one is a lot thicker. All right. So I've reached out to the governor's office and to Governor Murphy's office and to Sheila Y. Oliver's office. I don't know why they mentioned her name. They mentioned the Y. So the hell what? Sheila Oliver's office. I've been reaching out to her since I was in the prison. She never reached back out yet. I'm home and I've reached out to her and she still hasn't reached back out yet. She's good at evading people. So an inmate, unless you're high enough of echelon, and then then she'll reach back out to you. But then when she goes on the road, she says, yeah, I'm from this East Orange and I'm from wherever. Yeah, but you got your nose in the air and you've forgotten about everybody because you don't want to be bothered, especially with people that are in prison. Sheila Oliver. So what happened is the governor, I'll give him a break because a small one, because Governor McGreevey was in office when the current commissioner was a director, and Governor McGreevey hired from within, which was, again, not a smart thing to do. If you got rid of Commissioner Hicks, why would you hire from within? Everybody who was there when Hicks was there knew that we were being raped, knew we were being assaulted, knew that we were being mistreated, knew that our rights were being violated. So you've hired Victoria Kuhn. She was a director at the time. I personally wrote to her. I personally spoke to this woman, and told her, we're being assaulted, we're being raped, we're being beat. Now, she wasn't the commissioner, but she was a director. And if your boss is not doing anything and you know what's going on, she should have went above his head. She should have went to someone outside the prison as a director. She should have taken the paperwork that I sent to her, that she acknowledged that she received, and she should have went to the Attorney General's office. She should have went to the DOJ, the Department of Justice, and she should have said, these women have been reporting to me that they're being raped, that they're being medically neglected. She should have done these things. Excuse me, I have really bad allergies. It's hot. I've got a fan blowing. And if you have allergies and you have a fan blowing, the two don't mix. But I'm sitting directly under a light. It's hot. A fan's going. So she turned a blind eye. Why would you make her the commissioner? Under her tutelage, the women are still getting their ass beat. She's hired her close friend and her good friend, Erica Stem, to work at Edna Mahan Correctional Facility, or Edna Mahan Correctional Facility, and they're still being abused. And anybody that I try to report this to, it falls on deaf ears. So they created an internal policy, and the internal policy is supposed to go by WPATH. WPATH is what the other states have used to qualify a man who wants to become transgender. It also is used to qualify your staff that you hire. And it says what type of training they have to have, what type of degree they have to have. I'm talking about your doctors, your psychologists, your psychiatrists. And so that they know the steps to take to interview the men that are saying they want to be transgender, and so that they can make sure that when these men are transferring and going through the steps to transfer to the women's prison, that they are not a danger to themselves and to the women and to the transgender women that are there, psychologically, emotionally, because it's a big deal to remove a part of your body and your anatomy, and you're never going to get that back. Once you take it off, you can't say, "Nah, I want it back." And if you realize you're never going to get it back, and they can't sew it back on because it's not going to work properly, and you look at a woman and you want to take it out on her, you're going to be in there murdering the women that you were in prison for murdering in the first place. These men want to be there because they don't want to live in the men's prison, because it's hard in the men's prison. It's a whole thing that goes behind why these men want to live there. I'm not going to go into all of that. WPATH, the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. WPATH. Wanted to say it the right way. So they found a way around that, and they're running game on the governor and the commissioner governor, and they're abusing the women. They've abused a woman that's mentally not all there, and the administrator and the acting associate administrator, O'Day, and what is his name? I'm not going to say Brian because that's not his name. I forget his name. But the associate administrator at Edna Mahan for women, transgender women and men, I tried to reach out to him. I was calling him on another matter, but I was also calling him on this matter to let him know that I have been filing complaints against Commissioner Kuhn, as well as his boss, Erica Stem. And I wanted to let him know and get his input on it. But he had the phone numbers changed. And so every time I try to call the prison, I get a busy signal. Now, they receive public funds, and they aren't supposed to block anyone's call. I'm an inmate advocate and a community activist, and they are not supposed to put a block on my number so that I can't call the prison. So I'm going to be filing charges against them because that's against the law. If you're receiving public funds, you don't block anybody's number from calling the prison. So that's one thing they did that's wrong. If it's their private number, if it's their home number, if it's their money and they're not receiving taxpayers' funds, my money, then no, you don't do that. If it's your money, you do what you want. But you don't block my number from calling the prison. So that's a problem right there. They've also been targeting 2 inmates, writing them false charges, tearing up their property. Yeah, they've been doing the most. And so I'm not going to get into that either. But the retaliation against inmates that come forward is very strong. And so quite a few inmates have come forward, but these 2 main inmates that have come forward, they've been targeting them a lot and trying to get them to document things and bring it forward. Eventually, their name has to come out. And I took this information to the governor's office, and they sent it to the Attorney General's office, and the Attorney General's office sent it right back to the commissioners. And so one of the ladies wound up in administrative segregation, and then they sent another false charge against her. And the other lady, they locked them both on the same day. Oh, what a coincidence. No, it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that the 2 ladies, there were 3 ladies altogether, and one of the ladies' names was not mentioned. And I had her send me the information, and I said, don't put your name. And the other 2 ladies said, I'm not afraid. They both said this. I'm not afraid. You can use my name. And I told them last year, I said, it's not about using your name and you being afraid or not afraid. They're going to retaliate against you. I'd rather you not use your name. No, you could use my name. And they retaliated against them, just like I said they would. And they've been harassing them in between. And when I say they, I mean Victoria Coons, the commissioner, and I mean the Erica Stem, the administrator. They have their staff go after the people that have fed me the information. And so all of the inmates that have been giving the information, that been going through one of the ladies in particular, that have been using her phone, that have been, using her kiosk to send me videos that I've been sending to them against the officers that have been harassing them and beating them up. And I've been writing it up and sending it in. They haven't touched those inmates. But the main inmates, 2 inmates that have been sending me the information, those are the inmates. And so this is why inmates don't come forward, because they have to live through the retaliation. And maybe in the end they'll be okay, but they get locked down. Their property gets stolen. Their property gets shook. And I called the ombudsman, and the ombudsman said to me, oh, well, what can our office do? Gave me the BS talk. I'm not going to say the ombudsman's name. And so I said, listen, I know the inmates. I know who the inmates are. I know they aren't the stellar inmates of the prison. I know that they're boisterous, and, I know they, can get in trouble and they get written up. But we're not talking about the inmates that keep their nose clean. And actually, these inmates haven't been into any, real trouble in the prison. But I know who the inmates are. I know they're loud. I know they cuss you out. I know they're, they're mouthy. Yeah, I know exactly who I'm talking about. I know they're in the mix, in the mess of stuff. But this is how they know the heartbeat of the prison. This is how they know the officers that are getting down and dirty. This is how they know who's bringing in what and who's doing what in the prison, because they are in the mix of the stuff. This is how they know the officers that are riding high and dirty or low and dirty, I should say, to tell me what's going on in the prison. So because they are in the mix of the stuff. You think they they in there with the officers that's keeping clean? The officers that's keeping clean aren't the ones that they're reporting me the stuff to tell you about, because they're the officers that's keeping clean. Oh, yeah. So, that's how they're able to know, because they're in there with the inmates that's doing the dirt. That's how they know who's bringing in the contraband from outside. That's how they know who is bringing in the phones. That's how they know who getting down with who, because they got their ear to the door. Right? It don't make sense if they know stuff, if they squeaky clean. They in their dirty drawers with dirty drawers. So, but then when they say what's going on, it's retaliation time. So don't tell me that they're not being retaliated against. And so they're protecting their officers. Because if you tell on an officer, then how is it that the supervisor don't know what's going on? Supervisor's looking the other way. Supervisor does know what's going on. Administrator does know what's going on. SID does know what's going on. SID dirty as hell. SID wrote one of the ladies a charge from a month ago. And they said, well, we heard over the loudspeaker that you said da 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 da. Oh, really? Why is SID listening over the loudspeaker about what somebody said in the shower? You want to tell me that? SID invading somebody's privacy in the shower at the women's prison? I thought the showers was off limits. See, fuck with me, because I spent 11 years in the prison for crimes that I didn't commit. And I'm about the nosiest bitch in the prison. And then The ombudsman want to know, why isn't the inmate reporting stuff and dropping it in the box? I had to explain to her because me and the other lady, the assistant ombudsman, we're the only one that have a key to the box. And I said, lady, because what she telling you is hearsay. And I said, Miss Ombudsman, do you honestly think that, first of all, it's not hearsay because she's typing it on the kiosk and I'm reading it. So it's not hearsay. She's given me permission to speak to you because you're supposed to be documenting it. And this is what the purpose of the ombudsman's is. She's going to tell me what the purpose of the ombudsman's office is. Oh, well, no, I'm going to have to go back and check because I'm sure that's not what the purpose of but it's right in black and white under the New Jersey statute what the purpose of the ombudsman's is. And I said to you, this is why the last ombudsman was fired, because the governor specifically put that he wanted the ombudsman to be reporting these things, and your agency is an outside agency because of yada, yada, yada. She going to tell me no. All right, Miss So-and-so. Anyway. So it's not hearsay. I'm telling you, and that's why I'm calling you, because she can't write and put it on a grievance and put it in the box because the box is compromised. Wink, wink. Oh, no, we're the only two that have a key. Miss So-and-so, you're not the only one that have a key to the box, because the officers done went in the box with so-and-so inmate, sat down and read the grievances that the inmates put in the box. Oh, really? Well, I'm going to have to look into that. And by the way, can you give me the inmates' information? Sure, I'll get it to you when the goddamn pigs fly. I ain't giving you shit. Sure, I'll get it to you, but give me some time because I'm working on other stuff. I ain't giving you shit. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They've been going in that goddamn grievance box with the officers and the inmates and reading what the fuck the inmates write up to SID and to the ombudsman for years. And bitch, you didn't just start working there. When I was in the prison, I wrote several grievances that the inmates and the officers are writing. And I wrote this to the ombudsman when I was in there. And you the same motherfucking bitch that worked there when I was in there. And you and I discussed that what I wrote to you when I was in there, the officers are reading my grievances. I got copies of my grievances in them goddamn boxes right there. Well, I done wrote the same bitch that I can pull out. So give me some time and I'll pull out my grievance where I wrote to you and told you the officers are reading my goddamn grievance with the inmates, bitch. So that's why she don't write to you. Play that goddamn shit with me. Give me some time. I'll get him out. Anyway. So this is what's going on. And so just adding insult to injury of what's going on in the prison. And people don't care. When you hire officers that don't care about your job, because all of this can stop. When you hire officers who don't care about doing their job, this is why this is happening. Because you have criminals in the prison. There are people that are, it's not the best ideal, but why would you take men and add men on top of that with penises? The only men that should be in the women's prison are those that have gone through the W path. If you still have a penis, and if you haven't gone through that training to make sure that even if you have had the surgery, mentally and emotionally. You are putting men in the prison whose joy it is to physically assault the weaker sex. And it has nothing to do with their penis, Governor McGreevy, Lieutenant Governor Oliver. Do you guys understand that? Their joy is to humiliate and bully the weaker sex. And that is why they pick on women and transgender. And that's why they need to go through the psychological training, because some of them, even if they had the surgery, they still don't qualify to be around transgender and women. So there's no reason for them to go through the goddamn surgery. Because if they go through the surgery, they think, hooray, I'm in. I can go there. All I had to do was take my penis off, and I can go there and beat the fuck out of these women and transgenders for the rest of my life, and I can kill one of them. And because I had my surgery, I can still stay there. And I can kill another one. And because I had my surgery, I still qualify. I can stay there. They can't put me back with the men. I can still live with the women. See, that's what y'all are telling him. All I got to do is remove my dick and balls. That's what y'all have told these men. All I got to do is make myself a woman, and I can be there, and I can taunt them, and I can kill them, and I can murder them over and over and over and over. Do you understand? Do I make myself clear? Because y'all are telling him all he has to do is make himself a woman, and he can kill them over and over and over. Who is hell-bent and determined to kill women and transgender women, that's all he has to do. How many women are there at Edna Mahan? At Edna, what are you going to do with him now? Come on, genius. What you going to do with him now? Well, what you going to do with him? Anybody think of that? So this is why I wanted to do the video, because it's not fair. The law in the state of New Jersey, it's not fair. They did a crime, right? And the law says that this prison is for them. That this facility is for them, or whatever facility you're going to put them in. New Jersey Statute 30:4-90. That's one. The other statute, and it's the revised statute, 30:4-8.9. The other statute is 30:4-154. Revised statute. You just took a bunch of men who didn't want to be at the prison because there's grass at the mall. Y'all should have transferred these men to another prison, but there's no room. There's no room to put them everywhere. And a lot of them, these men coming from the different prison, they want to have sex. They bring in monkeypox to the women. They're exposing them. The women that are coming from the jails. They don't have anywhere to go because y'all got men at the women's prison taking up the room. That's why there's no room, because you have men there, not the transgenders that have had their surgery and that are legitimately there. You have men with penises at the women's prison, and it's not right. And the dumb shit like this is what makes people want to vote for a Republican and get your ass out of office. But when you do stupid things like this is what makes people vote for a Republican. Why? Why fix the abortion issue? Why fix the gun issue? Why fix the homestead anchor, give us the anchor program, and then say to hell with people's relatives in the prison? Why? It makes no sense. All these people that you're doing these things for, their relatives are in prison. So you fix the other stuff. Why sponsor the games in 2026, and then their relatives get murdered by one of these freaks that you got in the damn women's prison? You do all these good things, and then when it comes to having a full swing, bad at it, you leave the men in the damn prison. Yes, I heard that minor was taken out and he was put somewhere else, but you left all the other ones in there. If they have a penis, they need to go post haste. And I don't appreciate you people blocking my phone number. Have a good day.